I will because I'm a doer. If I say, I always say, like, if I start something, I'm gonna finish it
Right.
because I don't be leaving stuff unturned. That's just not me.
Hello, my name is Elle Harris, and thank you for checking out the 7 podcast. Today, we are talking about careers and dreams. I think this is so important because we forget to dream, and we forget to just have that space to figure out who we want to be in life, right? And I chose one of my good friends, T2, Tasha Turnbull, to be a part of this episode. You will see why she is a ball of energy, and she's really big into goal setting and going after those dreams. So check it out.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final episode of 7. I am Elle, and today I have the wonderful, amazing, talented, well-accomplished Tasha Turnbull here with me today. And I will let her introduce herself, and then I will tell you why we are doing this together.
Okay, you got me hyped. Okay, thank you very much for having me. I'm excited to be here and excited that you're doing this because you all that and you like I'm making stuff happen for myself in 2025. So my name is Tasha Turnbull. I am in the wellness space. I call myself a fitness entrepreneur, social entrepreneur. I own T2 Fitness, a fitness training company, also the T2 Fitness Foundation. We do comprehensive wellness programming for individuals living in under-resourced communities in several cities. I am also a wellness speaker, stress management speaker, and I think that's it. Two-time author, and I'm out here in these streets trying to make it happen. That's basically.
Award-winning.
Yes, award-winning business owner. Definitely a number of different business awards related with business. There's just another one that I just received as well from the Pearls Foundation, a business award. You knew about that?
No, I didn't.
Okay. Yeah, just found that out too. So I'm that's it. I'm missing some stuff. Award-winning author too as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I am happy to be here. And yes.
So that is why you are here. I think, well, I would say beyond just all the many accomplishments that you have, I think that you are a motivator in that area. And it is rare that you find people in the space, in career spaces, that will also push you in your dreams and making sure that you don't fall behind your greatness. And so I thought better person to do this with than you, because I remember a few years ago during a very low point of my life, even though I was in that point, you were like, Badell, you got to do this and you got to get back to these goals. And you literally were like sending me goal related, agendas. You created a goal agenda for me. And that is very rare. You don't find too many people like that. You don't find too many friends who will do that, because sometimes when you have a lot of things going on yourself, you're focused on the things that you have going on. Like, yeah, friend, I could pray for you and hope, the best and push you, but like to actually be actionable behind that and have an intent and encouragement of friends, it's just rare. And so what better person than the ultimate hype man to have today? So I wanted to start off with, so for me, one of the things that I felt so embarrassed about a few years ago was going back to work.
Mhm.
And I remember feeling like I was like right around COVID. I think everybody's story now is like pre-COVID, post-COVID, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right around COVID, I had just finished my PhD and I was like killing it in my business. And then like I just felt like this momentum, like I could do whatever, I could charge whatever, like I have the research, I have the degree to do all these things. And then I had a baby, right? And then life just kind of punched me in the gut. And then I had to have a realistic conversation with myself because I could not bounce back into my dream the way that I wanted to.
Hmm.
And so because of that, I found myself at a place of either I'm gonna run out of money or I need to go get this job. And
Hmm.
it was probably one of the most humbling situations of my life. Not even and taking the job, I could have went out and got a job that would pay me a lot of money, that would pay me six figures. And then I would be away from my family and away from my child. But instead, I took a job at the time that only paid me $40,000 a year. And I remember when I applied and I went there, and they were like, no, something's not right. Why is she applying for this job? Why is she applying for this job? Like, this is something that we hire people who have an associate's degree or
Mhm.
even lower to have. But I knew that I needed the bare minimum, right? To take care of my bills and responsibilities. And I also knew that if I took a job that paid me what I wanted and took care of me above what I needed, that I would get comfortable there, right? And so you have to remember sometimes that your dreams, even if they're on hold, they are still worth pursuing.
Mhm.
So, like what I asked in the first question to you, when do you know that a dream or something that you want to do is worth pursuing?
Yeah, I mean, a few things come to mind. It's one, I am so dreamer. So I guess, and I don't take this the wrong way, I am not a dreamer.
Hmm.
I would call myself an envisioner.
Hmm. Okay.
And a reason why I say that is because I always want to make sure I'm envisioning if I'm not 100% satisfied, and I want to get to a place where I am completely satisfied. But I'm
Right.
always an envisioner of how I want my life to go in June, what I want a day to look like for me.
Hmm.
Um, in 2025, by the end of 2025, this is what I want my Tuesdays to look like.
Hmm.
Okay, it's currently or Mondays. This is what I want my Mondays to look like. And so what I do is I'm very concerned about living the life that I want to live because it's so short.
Mm.
So I don't necessarily want to dream like, oh, what could I like? No, how do I want to live? And then from there, that makes me think like, what skills do I have or what resources do I already have to make this daily living come true?
Oh,
Do
that's
I not? Do I have some of them? Okay, then you're fine. Like you are living the thing. Then some stuff I'm not living that way. So
right.
do I have the resources? No. I need to find a way to obtain the skills and or resources to make this a part of my reality because I am not for living the life that I do not want to live. People lose their lives so quickly in this lifetime. It's scary. And so what it is I want this Monday, I want to be doing the things I want to do. Everything I'm doing today, Elle, is something that I want to do. Okay. I'm not going to nobody's job that I don't like or, talking to this, perhaps do this or that. I ain't doing that. Child, if I'm out. Peace. And so I want to, me and me always knowing that I want to live a certain way helps me stay committed to goals.
Right.
And I'm also like you, a planner. I love at the end of the week where the list has been checked off, where I can take a pen. I'm analog. I need a pen. I know some people are digital. I
Right.
need a pen. I have wrote, crossed out. I
Yeah.
have crossed out that I have got something done. That makes me feel because I'm taking ownership of my life. I'm not letting the life come towards me because what
Yes.
we've seen is stuff do not be happening for us. People have to go out and make things happen. People have to go put in the work.
Yeah.
And so I am one to make sure I check my planner like daily. I use my planner daily. And I take action upon what I do. And so you just can't have a goal. You need to have some tasks
Yes.
underneath it to reach the goal. So I have to make sure I'm doing the task. And the third thing I would say is positive self talk. Because I have the negative self talk too. So
Yeah.
I try
That's
to
real
tell
good.
it, keep my, so I got to balance it out with the positive. Like, Tasha, you got this. You
Yeah.
did this. Remember, you can take a break and then you can go back to, like, you have to talk positively to yourself because that negative self talk can come in just internally because for us and media and the news always wants to go to the negative. So
Yeah.
people might associate with like, hey, good stuff doesn't happen to me. I just have to stay in this situation. So I have to be the change I have to instill into myself. I got to be my groupie. My number one support system is
Right.
like, hey, you can do this. You're going to do this, even though you ain't never seen nobody do it that looks like you, that's your age. And so those are the things I would say. I envision the life that I want to have. Like nothing to me does not seem outlandish.
Mm,
I envision the life I want to have. I make sure to write down and I check in on myself daily. Because
mm.
we get too many images
Yes,
all day
we
long.
do. Yeah.
I check in myself daily via the planner. And then the third one is the positive self-talk. I tell myself like, you's kind of wise because I ain't got an L every day to be like you this and that, the top and not because I was like, we don't have those people every day to tell us
Right.
that. So you have to be that for yourself.
Yeah, you gotta be like that, girl. You're doing a good job, girl.
Correct.
You're doing a good job.
Correct.
Every day, but we need that. I love what you said about envisioning the life. Like, and I have been that, like, I have had the vision of like seeing myself like walking in the office and waving at my receptionist, like those type of things. But I've never gone to the point of saying on Monday, on Tuesday. I love that. It is something I'm now going to adopt because I am a visionary, and I think that is what helps me to accomplish goals. I can
Mhm.
literally see the things happening, and like you said, even if you've never seen anyone else do it, that doesn't stop me. Because sometimes we don't have a blueprint. We are the blueprint,
Correct.
right? We're the
Correct.
blueprint. No matter, even if it's a business that parallels something else, you still have your own blueprint for
Mhm.
what you're doing. So, though we're talking about this and envisioning things, has there ever been a moment in your life where you stop pursuing a dream or a business or a career?
Yes. So you know about this. So we just moved into 2025.
Yep.
So I think this was 2023 where I said that I was going to create a non-alcoholic drink line.
Mhm.
And so I was like, yeah. So I did because I thought about this. It was the top of 2023. It was the top of 2023. And I was like, yeah, I'm going to create this non-alcoholic drink line because I'm obviously, I'm in the wellness space and I've always been into trying to find drinks outside of water and soda for people to have. Like it's just, and you have now there's another demographic in there with you got energy drinks, you got
Mood enhancement drinks.
correct, yes. And so it's like, and you have a lot of these non-alcoholic wine, non-alcoholic gin, and I think it's come for a good reason. Like a lot more people are understanding like, hey, alcohol can't it doesn't do it for me all the time. Like I want something else to relax to help me out other than alcohol. People are, just in general are trying to move to being healthier. And
Right.
this non-alcoholic drink space has that's how that's kind of come about just across the country, across the globe. And so I was like, I want to get involved with that because I'm always trying to find something else other than those, like I said, I was drinking kombucha, but sometimes I was a bit too strong for like teeth, enamel
Right.
and stuff like that. But a lot of the non-alcoholic drinks, they were like really sweet, or some of them they just
Mhm.
tasted awful, even though they have all these health benefits. I was like, when the ham sandwich is this? So I was like, I can come up with something.
Right.
And so I started doing R&D. And so I started buying drinks. I mean, getting drinks tested, formulated, and everything. So I had like 6 SKUs that I had come out with, was testing out, and testing was going well. And then I closed my fitness studio, which took me out the game for like several months. It was a
Yeah.
very tough, reduff time
Yeah.
for me, bless my little heart, because I had my fitness studio for 12 years and that was like my home.
Yeah.
That was my first home. My house was my second home. And I knew it was going to be tough for me, but I didn't know it was going to be like that tough.
Yeah.
Like, bless my whole little heart. I was just depressed and just out the game.
It's a
And
grief. It's
yeah,
grief. A huge grief.
yes, I remember you saying that. You were like, this is, and I was like, okay, because I was like, why can I not move forward after 2 months? And so I had already started the drink line and stuff. And so, but I was like, I put it on hold. And the guy, he was like, hey, so what did you think about that last formulation? And I was like, I'm going to get back with it. Like, it's sitting in my refrigerator. And I noticed that I wasn't going back to it. And I was like, I will, because I'm a doer. If I say, I always say, like, if I start something, I'm gonna finish it, because
Right.
I don't be leaving stuff unturned. That's just not me. And so, the months are continuing to go by, and I'm trying to pick myself back up from closing the studio, and I'm still not moving on the drink line. And so I'm now questioning, why in a ham sandwich, Tasha, you not doing that stuff with the drink? Because you said
But you say it.
that's what and so then I was just like, Tasha, are you turning into another person? Like, you not doing what you said. And I then, towards the end of the year, so now it's the end of the year, and I didn't move on it. And I was like, Tasha, this is no longer something that you're interested in.
Right.
When you have a big shift that changes in life, sometimes it shifts perspectives
Hmm.
on what is important, what you want to now make a priority, right? And so now that I had finally moved past enough from me closing the studio, and I'm able to evaluate what I would have put my time and effort into, I didn't feel like the drink line would serve a large enough purpose, provide enough satiety for me.
Yeah.
And I wrestled with it for a few months, and I was like, no, that's not you, Tasha. Because if you really were interested, you would have picked it back up at
Yeah.
month 7, month 10. And it took me a while, because I'm not just a drifter. Like, I'm not just like, and so I was like, Tasha, no, that was not something that you wanted to do. And it wasn't. At the end, like, the drink market, and this is not anybody who has to say anything bad about the drink line. I feel like, one, it is oversaturated, but everything to me is oversaturated.
Bread is oversaturated, right?
Yes, but I feel that it has got completely watered down, because there is so much, the hearts. There are so many, there's so much fluff that has come into this space. Like, people are just making drinks with water and dye, and they put like a little sprinkle of ashwagandha in it, and then
Right.
next thing you know, this is a drink. Like, the drink space is so confusing. Like, there's 10,000 of them. Nobody knows what's going on in it. And it's one of those, and doing my research more about the industry, I forgot what they called it, but it's one of those industries where not a lot of new people are entering in it. It's the people who drink it are just going from drink to drink. So
Mm,
it's hard for the drink brand to expand, because it's only a certain subset that is doing drinks.
okay.
Now, overall, stuff can change, because, like I said, more and more people are understanding, like, hey, we need to become healthier.
Right.
Wellness is very much a part of, it needs to be a part of our lifestyle, because physically and mentally we're having challenges, so we need to fuel our bodies with better things. But as it stands right now, it's not an expanding market. And so I pivoted to another industry that I'm working on, that is definitely continuing to expand. But overall, it was something that the business I had to cancel, that I put money into. I put in about $3,000 into it, and that I decided that I had to cancel it.
Yeah.
And it was, uh, in the sense that I needed to make sure that my priorities, that my vision was aligned with it. And so, even though I lost the money, I was more so wanting to make sure that I'm doing the right thing. And as I'm talking to you now, I still stand that it was the right thing
Yeah.
to to stop it, because with these new products, these new businesses, you are going to be working on it for an extended long period of time. It's going to take up hours, time, and it's not something that I would want to devote an extreme amount of time to doing. So right now, with I'm doing my nonprofit, it is very impactful. That's something I want to devote my time to. I'm reducing training, and I want to reduce my time to that. But I didn't want to expand my time with the drink line. It was more so feeling like, okay, now I got to do some stuff with the drink. Like, and
Right.
I don't, that's not how I operate in T2 land. So yeah.
And I think it also like affects your quality of something, right? Like when you're just doing it because like, all right, I know I can do it, so I'm gonna just check it off, right? It doesn't really have that quality. I remember several years ago, it's probably been like 10 plus years, I went to this event and I remember this lady saying the biggest thing that separates, she was a Caucasian lady. One of the biggest things that separates Black women from her, her is that we become emotional about our business, right?
Oh, she
And
said Black people become emotional about their business.
we're
Yeah.
very Black, especially Black women. We call our business our baby. We hold
Mhm.
it. We got to and the emotion behind the business is what really messes us up, right?
Mhm.
Because we take everything so personally. There's
Right.
so many emotions are tied to it, and you have to be able to cut and sever the cord when you have to.
Yeah.
That means that this no longer works, it no longer works, right? You pivot, you change, but it cannot be your child because it's not,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
But we put so like even you'll go to a place, you'll go to, a meeting, a vision board. This is our baby. Let's give birth to it. Like we do that. We put so many emotions.
Yeah.
And sometimes when you think of things with the emotion attached, you take things the wrong way, you get offended quickly, you feel like people are disrupting or disrespecting you in business because this is something that you care about. But I
Yeah.
think when you remove the emotion, you understand everybody isn't going to care the way that you care about things, right? And that is probably one of our biggest detriments. So it's something that I've worked on because I remember being that person of like, this is my baby, I'm going to nurture it, I'm going to build it up. But then I had to realize it's not my child. It's a
Mhm.
business, right? Like it's a business. Do I want to make impact? Yes. Do I want it to be quality? Yes. But I also, if I remove the emotion out of it and think logically and based on evidence and where we're trying to go, it just makes things a little bit easier. Now, shutting things down, sometimes it is hard. I recently shut down my business, my for profit, in November. And it's so funny because when I was sitting down and I made the decision, I was like, all right, I'm going to shut it down. And then I was talking to my husband. He's like, all right, so go ahead and shut it down. And I was like, wait a minute, I don't want to shut it down. Then all the emotions started coming. And I'm like, all right, Elle, what am I holding on to?
Mhm. Mhm.
Why am I holding on to it? Do I want to say, like, keep going because I know this isn't what I want anymore?
Right.
I have to let it go so that I can evolve into something else and so that it can evolve into something else. So we're gonna have the moments like because it's a grieving process with
Yeah.
everything. It's okay to grieve it. It's okay to be like, this is what we did. This is what I wish would have been better. Give yourself that time and then make a decision of like on the long term, where is this gonna take me? And if I stay in this space, are there things within it that's gonna hold me back, right? And that's what I felt like for me. I think when I had the right intent, but then I allow like it's very important to have people to help you, right? I think counsel is important, right? Mentorship, all of those things. But sometimes I think we have to be stern and truly like grounded in our own thoughts and beliefs of a business,
Yep.
especially when it's your own business. Because if not, if you hear a lot of people from the outside telling you, like, oh, you need to do this, oh, it's not going to work if you don't do that,
Right.
it's already done because now the business is not going to look like anything that you created. And that's what I felt. I felt like this wasn't like the right thing. Like I had an intention, but I allow outside ears to influence me because
Mhm.
I just thought that, oh, this is the right way to go.
Yeah.
But no, I needed to like stay firm in what I believed and move in that regard. So I made the decision and I felt good in letting it go. What happens next is going to be even greater. It
Yes.
served, right? It served for that moment. I had to go and tell clients. I remember telling one of my clients that I shut it down. She was like, why? I just love being able to say that I have this agency to go to. And I was like, but you still have me,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
It's just not that, right? It's just not that. And when you get to that point of understanding, like, it's okay to let things go at times. Now, on the flip, let's go into like our final question. Go
Wait a
ahead,
minute.
go ahead.
I wanted to ask you, well, I guess comment because with the you have your way of seeing things, and then it's like you are passionate about things. So I'm trying to talk about the balance between this being your baby but also looking at it from a business standpoint,
Right.
because I feel that for it to a certain extent, to hold together, to be stable, to be consistent throughout the challenges, somebody has to be very, very dedicated, like 400%. And what I found with business is like you the main one, even with my nonprofit, you the main one
That's the one.
who is like dedicated. You got these other people, like they cool, they like it, they think it's great, but they're not going to, go to the 88th degree, right? And so how do you balance that with, you got to keep this, because you can't fire everybody, right? You gotta you need these people. And so it's kind of like dialing back kind of like your expectations,
Yeah.
but also you have to keep the battery in other people's pack to remind them about the importance. And I think that's why some people have tried to use that family theme to be like, hey, we love you here, we want you to stay here and work and stuff, because when you have to work with when you have employees, people are motivated by different things, and it's not their business. And so it's like you're trying to get them to do good work. And then that's why sometimes companies will offer stock options. But even sometimes they don't care about that either. And so it's, to me, it's like a balancing act. And then you might get the mentors, but the mentors, they are, like you said, putting in what they think you should do based on what
Right.
they did.
Right.
And so I think it gets very tough, like also in this season, about motivating employees and trying to grow your companies, when you feeling like, why I got to motivate you, like I'm paying you. And you always have some of the rock star employees, and then some you have like they barely showing up, and it's like, but you're like, come on, like this is
Yeah.
great. And then, people, so everybody doesn't feel the same way that you do about stuff, but it's always, to me, I find a balancing act with leaders and trying to, get the work done, and
And
people feeling
motivating.
like, hey, I should have this break, or I should do this, or have this say in things. I just think it's just really, my overall thing is like, I see how people, when you say you want to have like the family aspect as a way to try to get people to like their job, because you feel, unless if you treating your employees right, if you treating them right, then it's really like, why aren't you doing the do?
So here's what my secret right now is.
Okay.
I'm a big Maslow hierarchy of needs person, right? I
Mhm.
never was before. Once I did my dissertation, like my theory was that was the theory I used. But I realized we do not pay attention to that enough. It's also kind of what I'm basing this podcast series off of. When I have an employee, right? So most people, when you become a boss, you generally say, what are the things that I didn't have, right? When I work for someone, let me add this. Let me make sure we have time to do yoga. Let's make sure that we can go and have outings together, right? Let's do, all right. So I have all of these wonderful perks, stock
Mhm.
options, all of these things. But if you are not in tune with the basic needs of your staff and of your employees and of your volunteers, none of that matters. I can take you to Busch Gardens for the day, but if I know that your lights are getting cut off tomorrow, your
Right.
mind isn't in Busch Gardens. You're thinking about, how am I going to keep my lights on tomorrow?
Right.
If I know that you're in a domestic violence situation at home, I don't care about this yoga session. I want to make sure that I live to see tomorrow, right? So I think what happens is you have to be you have to be dedicated to the human resource. And I feel like a lot of organizations don't have the time to do that because you're trying to get things done, you're trying to make things work. And if you are someone who works in the service business, production is what makes you get money, right? So you don't have the time to devote to the actual human resource of a person. So now, if you're in a place, and this is what I've done with a lot of companies that I work with, I try to get them to find that balance of, let me spend time with your employees to figure out the bottom lines, to figure out what's important in their life, and how you can then incorporate some of the things that you're doing to let them know that they're seen, and how can I provide those resources for you, right? Because once you get to a place where I know my employees don't have to worry about where they're going to sleep tonight. I know my employee doesn't have to worry about her safety. I know my employee is working on her mental health. I know my employee is working on her actual career goals, because even if you're working for my nonprofit or whatever business that I have, maybe this isn't your true goal, right? Maybe you want to go in this, maybe you want to be a videographer. So maybe we have you start working on some videography projects. You know what I mean? So when you start getting people to that place and then they're finally able to achieve self-actualization, one or two things is going to happen. Either they're going to grow from your business and thank you, and that'll be a blessing added to you, or they're going to love your business so much they're going to already buy into what you're doing. They're not going to want to leave because that's what got them to where they are. That's what got them to realization. You know what I mean?
And I 100% like some of that. What you're saying is like the culture and ethos of an organization. I think that's very important to see if it's a fit. Like when
Right.
you're interviewing people, like I'm in the wellness space. If you're not really interested in wellness,
Why are you here?
like I don't, this ain't a fit, buddy. It's legit not. Even my admin assistant who don't do nobody's training on nothing. She works out 5 days a week. I
Right.
asked her, are you into well? Because you have to, other than paying people, like, are you gonna like what we talking about, what
That's
we
it.
doing? Like, if you're not, then you about to leave in 3.4 months.
Yep.
Okay. So it has to be like something that you are genuinely interested in, and you do got to pay people your worth.
Gotta pay
Okay.
them.
So everybody, even nonprofit, they get paid. Okay. We don't do stuff like we have, like for our fundraiser events, like that's volunteer. But these people that's coming in to train people for 12 weeks, these people is getting paid.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I don't believe like, oh, you work for a nonprofit, you're going to get paid less and stuff
It's a
like
lie. It's a lie,
that.
y'all. It's a lie. There's money out there to pay your people. We need to
Yes.
stop that lie.
In fact, they might have to do a little bit more to
Right.
help their little cousins out. So I don't believe in them not getting paid. And I'm getting paid myself. That I wish somebody would. And I wish a board would say, like, no, you don't get to pay this.
Right.
No. And I'll get the money to make sure that I can have it. But it's too much. We're doing way too much work to be like, you can only do this. Like, no, that's just not how it is.
Not fair.
And when people know how much it is, they need to, will this work for you? Like, please don't be out here accepting things and being resentful, because then that might show up in your work,
There you
or
go.
resentful to the company organization, and then you leave in 2 months too. This was a waste of your time and our time. We ain't got time to lose, like I told you at the beginning. So I think culture is important, and that needs to be developed way before you start hiring people, so that people know like what they're coming into
That's it.
and what they can get out of it. Because I'm all about what all of my everybody that works for me, what they can get out of it
Yeah.
too. Like they just as important as the people that we serve.
If not more,
Yes.
because then you have damaged people hurting people who need help.
Child,
And that is a huge
child,
problem.
child.
That's a huge problem. And it's so like, and then it goes back to the reputation of your company. Like,
Yep.
you don't want to be the company that you are so fly and you're cute and you got this and you wear this, and then your people are broken, and then they are breaking other people, right? And then it's like, no, it's not me. I'm not the problem. People just don't want to work here. But why don't they want to work here,
Mhm.
right? Oh,
Yeah.
they're young. This
Why
ain't
don't
been.
they want to?
Go
You
ahead.
no, I was gonna say you need to evaluate that. You gotta evaluate, like even with people who join our cohorts, they're free, and I noticed they stop coming. I contact them. Why you stop? What's going on? And so I need data. I need
Yeah.
to know, because how do I know if I'm bringing something that's going to be impactful? So I have to, and I'm genuinely concerned because they start off hot, but that happens with a lot of group stuff. You know, everybody start off hot, and then like different things might happen to certain people,
Right.
and so you have to be willing to have the hard conversations and questions, be like, what's going on? It's so important, like you said, to ask, like, staff, like, hey, well, what's going on? Or why do you not want to work? Or why did you ghost? Why did you ghost? You know what I mean? Like it putting, like you said, the ego aside, like you really want to try to learn something, because they might not be in this for a long time, but you've already said that
I'm
that's
here.
what I want to do. So I'm all about the criticism, learn about, like I told you, like if I don't get like a grant reward, if there's decline, I'm like, can you tell me why not?
That's it.
I need to know. I need to know, child.
Yeah. So I can do better next time.
Yeah, so I can assess, like, well, this grant, they were looking for other things that we don't provide.
Yeah.
They want to expand, so maybe I can expand out this piece, because I remember talking with one grant company that they were focusing on something else, and I was like, that's actually something that we were interested in doing, and I brought it to the board. So I'm glad. We need to just, the communication needs to be on point, and that also goes back to the culture, like being able to talk, like people, I feel, I don't know, but no, they do, because they text me, that people, if they have a question about something, to let me know, like to talk to me, not feeling like, oh, they can't talk to me because I'm the executive director. No, I do want to know
Yeah.
let me know what's going on in the classes.
Right.
Let me know.
And I think even as an employee, because I don't want to just, because everybody here may not want to be an entrepreneur, but even as an employee, I think it is so important. And I feel like Gen Z, as much people talk bad about them, I feel like Gen Z has got it, right? They don't care. They'll come work for you today, don't care how much you pay them. If you treat them horribly, they are out,
Hmm.
right? They're not going to sit around and wait for years and years and be broke down, mentally disturbed. They're not going to do all of that. It is, this is what I look for. I want to be whole here. I want to do these things. And if you're not aligned with me or my dreams, I'm out of here. And I feel like as an employee, you have to get to a place where you do the same thing. I remember in the same job that I was just telling you about before, when I first started there, I had a friend who was my supervisor, and life was great when she was there. And
Hmm.
then she left, and I realized how shielded I was from toxicity. Like, it was a
Hmm.
toxic work environment. And I remember when I put in my notice and I went to HR, asked me to come in and do like my final interview.
Hmm.
The interview was not even about really listening to some of the concerns that I had and the issues that were happening at the company, because it goes back to what I was saying earlier when they asked, like, you have a PhD, why were you working this job? It had nothing to do about the money that you could provide. It was about my sanity, and I was in a place that was already fragile, so I had to build myself up and be stable. I couldn't give any job my best, any company my best, until I worked on myself. And I needed this place of just punch in and punch out so that I could be myself and heal, right? And so when I talked about that, like, you got to stop looking at people and everything as a threat, right?
Hmm.
And you have to work on this is a human service company, and you have the worst reputation for harming people mentally.
Yeah.
And your goal is to help in the mental health world,
Right.
right?
Right. Right. Right.
So I say all this and I'm talking about this, and it's like, give me names. But it was never for me to give you names to actually help and make the company better. It was for gossip, right? So we have to be mindful. And when you're here, when people come to you and you are not comfortable in your job, and you feel like every day I'm waking up and this is not it, you have to find a place in your heart to be bold enough to say, hey, this isn't it.
Right.
Right.
And even before then, like, give people the option to make a change.
Yes.
Like, people don't know unless you say something.
Yes.
I can't assume, because I got 42 things going on at the same time.
Yes.
Let me know what is going on.
Mm-hmm.
And also, like, what is your emotional regulation, within things? Like, do you have your emotions? Are your emotions in check? Or is stuff out of whack when you are talking to people? Or are people talking to you sideways, and that needs to be addressed in a meeting?
Right.
Because the thing is, you're going to have to communicate with people wherever you go. So you want to check yourself. And then, what is the culture there with how people talk to, like, do supervisors or leaders, do they not handle things? Like, or are they the ones that have started this way on how to,
Yeah.
to talk to people? A lot of that can be, trickle down economics. So I'm just like, what are you? And then, if you know how you've handled things, it's probably like, oh, this need to be a dress, because, as you said, people are coming into jobs with a lot of different things, and it doesn't prove you right if you just pick up and leave for every single thing,
Yeah.
because you don't know if something could have been addressed. Like, some stuff could be so simple. I thought you meant this.
There you
Oh
go.
no, I thought you meant it. Oh,
we can fix that. Yep.
and then boom, that was it. But no, here you go. You got a whole attitude for 13 years because of something. Like, you like should just have a conversation. Like, they the same like you. They brush their teeth and they put on their little leggings the same way that you do. And it's just, but people do have a lot going on with, baggage per se when they come, into the work environment.
Yeah.
And so I think sometimes it just has to be, somebody has to be like, hey, so this is what's going on in this last meeting. This is what happened, and I felt this way.
Yeah.
Tell me, how are you feeling about what happened, to try to see if there is some type of common ground that we can go to. But if people want to act funny, then you can leave. But I just think, like, we have to deal with people.
Yeah.
Unless you're going, be work from home, the IT person. If you are, you are. But if you want to be in, work with people,
yes, you're gonna have to be a peopler.
yeah, you're gonna have to be a whole peopler. And so yeah, and it's a balancing act, but it's something like people really need to address, because
Yeah.
life is already tough. Like, please stop making it tough at these jobs when you don't have to. Like, please stop, please.
I'd say that. And so I would even say, to kind of come into our last question, human resources is probably one of the hardest things you're going to have to do with any company as an entrepreneur. And even as someone who goes to a job every day, working with people is hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard because we are all just trying to figure out how we fit into each other's space and life, right? And we're all in different places, or where we are, it's all of that. So to tack even on harder to that, as a business owner, trying to manage that, right? Trying to manage people, trying to manage keeping the doors open, trying to make sure we have funding, because I think one of the greater stressors as a business owner is, and people think that it looks so cool to have like all these people that work for you, but it's also like having a whole bunch of children. And not in the sense that they're immature, but in the sense of, at the end of the day, if my business shuts down, then those 10 people that work for me they have no way to take care of their families.
Right.
That is a huge weight.
Yep.
Right? There's a huge
100%.
weight. How do I push forward? How do I plan in case there is another COVID? Like,
Yeah.
I remember being in an institute this summer, and I was talking to someone. I was like, how do we forecast? How do we prepare for another COVID? And this man said, there's no way to do that. I said, is there no way to do it? Or can you not do it? Because we have to be smart enough, because we've seen it happen before, that now we have to put a pandemic plan in place, right?
400%. Like,
yeah.
Everything on all of the things that I do, they can be relegated to be done virtually. And also funds. Like, we have, like they used to tell you back in the day, which would seem crazy, but like a 6 month, at least a 6 month amount of money, 6 months worth of expenses, money to be paid out to people.
Yeah.
Easy. Because stuff be changing out here in these whole streets,
Yes, it does.
economies, the industries, elections, natural disasters, war, like all these things happen all the time. And so how the ham sandwich you not prepared for the demic? This services might not look the same. They now you go to the COVID services,
Yes.
related services, and you already have systems in place because you developed these systems when the demic came around.
Right.
But that's very important as a business owner to understand cycles and different things that can impact business.
Yeah. And reserves. Having a reserve, like you just said, it's so important because we are now in this place. Like you can have a dream, you can have a passion, a vision, and be strong in it, right? And it can do really well. But when those really good months are there, it's almost like related to Joseph in the Bible. You need to take all that heavy on the top and store it because a
Correct.
rainy season is coming, right?
Correct. Everything ain't look. Everything is not cherries and strawberries out here. All of these businesses, like even all these big businesses, isn't even they much bigger. They have like serious down quarters.
You see you see what's happening right now, and they are trying to. A lot of companies are taking the whole idea of let's try. Now you got to go back in the office and see how many people we can get to quit before we announce publicly that we are failing in our business. And they're doing whatever they can. Like let's just put this out first because nobody wants to admit that we are in a crazy economical season right now. So let's figure out all the things we can do to get people to quit before we have to furlough people, before we have to do these layoffs. And because it's hard, like it's hard with a business. Like what's the thing that we do to stay focused and stay committed when everything around us can be looking a totally different way?
So one of the things is you need to remember your strengths. I think people forget those when the crap, everything hits the fan.
Yeah.
When like all 82 things happen at one time. When all the employees start to come in and leave me alone. You know how people come in when they see you and you are apparently all knowing and they ain't got nobody's computer.
Yep.
Like everybody asks you questions, but they could have found that out themselves.
Yep.
And that bogs you down. And so you want to be like, hey, give me some moments to see like they can handle this stuff on their own. But I think the main thing is you have to remember your strengths and hence also your weaknesses. So I lean into, girl, we did this, something similar happened 2 years ago with such and such. Oh, with this company, this happened. Like, and what we did then. Because I don't feel that if you've been in business for some years, you already understand some of the challenges that can happen. And you understand when some of those challenges can be like get much bigger.
Right.
It's kind of like when people tell me they don't have time to work out. I'm like, because you're so busy. Like, your weekly schedule.
Yeah.
Even though it's crazy, you still got the regular crazies that always happen. So you can plug and play based on that. You might have to switch it up a little bit. You can't do what you originally intended to for that period of time period. You might have to switch it up, but you can still get something done.
Yeah.
So I reduce your expectations. Remember your strengths and reduce your expectations of what can get done. Because the thing is, we still need to come in not in the red.
Right.
It might come close to the jank,
but not in it.
But we ain't need to go into the red because you're like, oh, I can't, well, we just gonna have left everything. Like, no. Remember your strengths during these times. Yeah. Remember these favors you did for such and such. You better phone a friend and be like, that has this strength, the strength you don't have to help you out. Bring in another company. You also, that might be a time where you have to use a line of credit.
Yeah.
to help out, but you have to remember your resources. And also there are so many, depending upon what you do, city government, state, they need you. If you bringing in employees, you bringing in jobs, they'll help you out because they want your little taxes during tax time. They got some contingencies monies. Okay.
I think we failed, and I think this, I'm so happy you said that, because I think people get into this place of not realizing how important your local, state, government, region, federal, all of that is. Like, politics is so important as a business owner, because something so simple as a shift in leadership can affect your ability to move in your business, or it can impact the population that you're willing to serve. If you're serving a population that the government says we're no longer going to fund helping this population, or we're transitioning our whole approach to how we're helping them, then you got to pivot too. And if you're not on top of those things, it could change the whole trajectory of what you're doing, or if your business doors are still open. So
Right.
that's so
Yep.
huge.
You gotta, and so that comes from, being intentional networking, intentional, and being cool with people in different capacities.
Yeah.
City, state, public, private. You need to have your ears on the street, because somebody, they will easily, how many times I've definitely heard, whether it be public or private, they have this $2 million budget for blah blah, for something random. It's not even stuff they regularly do, but it's built in to help support figure in the blank.
Yeah.
And I'll be like, what? And even if it's not directly related to what we do, it's
Yep.
just the fact that I've seen that companies and organizations and governments, they will have this block of funds that hadn't been used yet, but it's there.
It's there.
So you got to find the monies.
Yes, you do.
Especially, that's what I've learned. And so many people, with these people who have these budgets, some of them, they're just not good at using it because that's not a regular part of their job.
Yeah.
It's not like they're trying to hide it. They just busy with all the other stuff. And they won't know that you are somebody who can use it until you explain who you are.
There
So
it
you got
is.
to go out to the different things. And so you do have to, and that's a part, Elle, where I always, what I've had to do now the past year, I say strong as like going outside of my regular job duties to make sure to represent the organization. Representing the organization is just being informed of what else is going on out here.
Yes.
So you do have to step out of that, and like, as business owners or even like higher up leaders in companies, you sometimes, it will behoove you to go to some conferences, not all of them, but
Right.
some conferences, to learn something that maybe can help you decrease your, how much you have to work, 20%,
There you
even
go.
18%, which could be a lot, because some money is going down somewhere, but some money somewhere else is going up.
Right.
So you have to be diligent to find out if you want to continue to expand and grow.
Yes.
You want to stay and say and complain about the same things, that's different. But you do have to make an effort to see what is out there. So getting in front of new people that you don't know.
Right. Right. Yes, I thank you for that. I think this is like very heavy. This could be a whole series by itself, but it's so important. Like, it is very hard to start a business. It's very hard to be bold enough to start a business, right?
Especially in 2025, because 2025, I started in 2009. This is a whole different ballgame. Like, what I did in 2009, there's no way I could do that in 2025 to start a business. Two, it's way more competitive, like just the business landscape, just in general. And it is more costly. And there's just way more players, way more costly. And even though I will say there are a lot of startup assistance, like turning your passion or project into that. I don't know how good those are. Some of them
And
I just
business accelerator programs, you just got to make sure you link up with one you got to find the one that's like really good for you. Or if you know someone who's gone through that program, like, all right, boom, I could, you know what I mean? So
exactly. I know people say this word a lot, but it's very important, the intentionality behind it.
Yeah.
I am very strategic, Elle. I ain't got zero time to waste out here. And if I want to spend my time looking at the rest of the wall behind me when we finish it, then that is time that I need.
Right.
What you not finna do is find me out here randomly at something just to say I'm going for some reason.
Right. Right.
And whatever that reason is, it needs to be good to me. But you cannot be just going out here intending all these different things because you want to be booked and busy. That ain't cute.
Be at
Who
all.
I ain't got time to be like booked and busy. I'm trying to work smarter, not harder, gain more money, and support my community. Like, and I think all of those things can happen because they've been happening for me for the past 15 years.
Right.
Like we both need to be served because we both are, a part of this society, community, and we're doing things to help it out. So I'm like, I want to help myself out because ain't nobody else gonna do it but me. And I want to help out the community as well. And I want to have be fun and be cute and all this type of stuff. But you got to be intentional because you only have a finite amount of energy each day,
You only
right?
have a finite, and I think what you said is important. Like, I want to go have fun, I want to be out with my friends, but there is a season for everything, and sometimes that
Correct.
season is called grind season. And I may not have gotten my hair done for a couple of weeks, but I know my head is in some books or in some learning or in some restructuring. I'm getting the job done, and you have to be able to find the balance because for some people, business, being out and being seen is how they make their money. I get that. But
Mm.
if that is not the source of your business, being able to just take a picture and say you were there, if that picture and saying you were there does not bring in income to support your family, your business, please wait.
Hey, you going home and you being busted and disgusted, like you still upset that you going to the same that job on Monday.
Right.
No, you should have used that time to do something else.
Yes.
Forget them people. Forget them. They don't know what you're going through really in life. Look, 2025. Look, we have got to change it up.
Yes.
Let's live how we be acting.
Yes.
Let's live how that you want to feel. To me, when you wake up in the morning, you might be tired of stuff, but you don't want to feel like I can't stand that. You know what I mean? Or even if for your business, I can't. You know what it like? That's what we don't. If you feeling that way, I'm here to say you have need. I want you to because you want to feel good about who you are.
Yes.
Like when it's all said and done, you take off the makeup, the clothes and stuff like that. Let's walk around the house feeling good about what we've like, even what you've done for the day on this random Monday. Like let's feel good about it, not like I can't stand this person or I had to talk this or like no, I want you too good for all that.
Too good and too busy to be. I think for me, like, I try to be on social media just so that I can stay in the algorithm where I can see some people in there, right? But I think that for me, it's like I can't even tune into that, right? I can't. I realize when I'm at my most productive self and my most efficient self and creative, I don't even have time to entertain. I like a good tea every now and then, right? We all do. I don't even have time for the tea because I got to get this stuff done. I can't find out what happened to Real Housewives. I don't got
Oh my
time.
gosh.
I don't have time, right? And some people may need that for their creative outlet. Fine, right? But I don't. When you really are intentional about it, if you are in the business to actually, this is your purpose and you want to help someone or something or change the trajectory of the world, be about your business. Be about your business. Know you're going to have amazing days. Know you're going to have bad days. But I think is what you said earlier. Envision how each day should look
Yep.
for you, right?
Yep.
Even when the times get crazy and you may get some bad news about business in the middle of the day, stand, let me recenter. Let me
Yes.
focus back on how it should be. I know, all right, I got this. Let me compartmentalize. Let me blow out that fire.
Right.
But I also need to be intentional because this is how my day should be, right? And
Mhm.
I am big on, like, my motto and my theme for the rest of my life is I want to build a life that I do not need a vacation from.
Yep.
I do not want a vacation from my life. I'm all for new experiences and seeing the world, but I do not want to have to vacation from my life. That's
Yes.
where I am.
And then like you vacation and then you go back to working for, you know, Jabanzi. You know what I mean? Like, well, why are you working at Jabanzi? What they do? Like, you
Right.
know what I mean? Like, unless you really, really like but if Jabanzi randomly makes this and you are not interested in this, like I'm concerned about your quality of life
Right.
because we're spending a certain amount of hours every day
Yeah.
at the job. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And so doing the work after work or, you know, so I'm just like, let's just make sure that we enjoy our what we're doing. Also where we live. Like, do you like where, you know, does it feel like a home to you?
Yeah.
You spend a lot of time there. I love my home. Like I be in it snugged. Like, you know what I mean? Those things are those things are important
Yes.
because that's going to affect how you show up
Yeah.
doing other things.
Yes.
You make the home for, you know, yours.
Yes. And that business space, if you have even if you don't have a space for a full office in your house,
Yeah, you don't
create
need
your little nook and make that the most peaceful nook in your house.
this.
I'm a Dollar Tree girl. Go to do what you got to do, paint, whatever. Go find some inspiration, but make that the best peaceful area in your house because you need that place to go and just be creative and build and do what you are purposed to do. And that is
I done seen too many people on this little Instagram and they apartments, they be hooked up. Like I be like this, it be like 500 square feet.
yep.
And it'd be like hooked. I'd be like, that place looks nice. You know what I mean? It doesn't have anything to do about size or money.
Nope.
Like it's more. It is about like. So this is Tanisha's space. You know what I mean? Like, and that's you want that for people because again, like we are the only ones that's in control of our life. And like you said, I'm not waiting to go on no vacation to live my bestest little life.
It's happening right
Oh,
now. Not gonna do it, but thank you so much for this. I hope that everyone who's watched just get something amazing out of this. I enjoy having conversations like this with you and just to bounce ideas off of and
yeah.
to because you have our moments where you got to vent and you have your moments where you got to build up, right? And I think we get to do that, and I appreciate you for being that person for me. Tell people where they can find you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm out here in these streets sometimes. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram, Tasha Turnbull. My handle on Instagram is T2 underscore Tasha. Same thing on LinkedIn. I am just out here trying to help us to understand how wellness makes our lives so much better.
Mhm.
It doesn't cure all, but it really helps out the process. And I about intentional about leading our best life possible. Because regardless of what season you are in, what job you are in, or what business you have, whether you just started your business 6 months ago, you've been at your company for 18 years, that joint need to be top tier for you.
Top.
Okay. So I am intentional about making things happen for me in whatever season it is. So please do not think that stuff is that's just the way it's going to be regardless. I know too many people out here changing their lives around at 55.
Right. Right.
So come on with it.
So come
Yeah.
on with it.
Yeah.
I hope you enjoyed this episode. This is our last episode of the 7 podcast. What a way to end it, I think. I hope you enjoyed it. Let us know what you thought. And yes, be good to yourself.